What is going on, everybody? Welcome back here to the channel. I'm Sean Davis, and we'll call it. Welcome into the first episode of the Los Angeles Lakers Network podcast. Hell yeah! January 20th, 12:11 Eastern time in the morning. So recording this immediately following Lakers versus Clippers. I do want to start this off a little bit differently. Obviously, this is gonna be a longer form video. Obviously, we could talk about a lot of different Laker topics. I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping here. So I put out a tweet a little while ago, say, hey, look, we're looking to add some stuff to the channel. Got a bunch of great responses, and was very fortunate to have my guy Corban Ford, who did a great job. Was able to have some communication with Corban, and Corban's been he dropped his video the other yesterday at the time of this recording or time of this game posted, breaking out his top three trade candidates for the Lakers. It was Nikola Vucevic, Cam Johnson, and who's the third? My memory's escaping me right at the moment. Lonzo Ball. So we got two Bulls and the net. We've obviously talked extensively about Cam Johnson, and we talked a little about Boots and Lonzo, especially recently. So Corban Ford is now a new member of the channel. So welcome him with open arms, Laker fans, as I know you guys will. You guys expect some great content from Corban going forward. Go make sure you guys follow him on Twitter. I messed it up at first, so I put a tweet out 2 or 3 different times, trying to tweet it directly from YouTube. Follow Corban Ford on Twitter at Corban NBA. Does a lot of great stuff. Also, the host of the Indie Basketball Podcast. Did I get that right this time?
You nailed it. You nailed it this time.
Hell yeah. Yes.
Yep.
So Corban, my man, now that we got everything underway here, Corban, thank you so much for hopping on and now officially welcome to the channel.
I appreciate it, Sean. Thank you so much for, the invite and let me kind of be able to contribute here and meet in the community and everything. I'm excited. I love talking ball. Obviously, we're both Laker fans. I've watched your work for a long time, so it's really kind of cool to be a part of this now. And yeah, I'm ready to rock.
Absolutely, man. Well, I wish your first episode was under, better circumstances. The Lakers lose last night at the time this game posted to the Los Angeles Clippers. Final score 116-102. We were texting a little bit off camera while the game was going on. And there's a little bit of positive to take from this game that I definitely want to get into. But, Corban, what are some of your biggest takeaways from tonight's game? I do want to mention really, really quickly, Austin Reeves left the game later on in the fourth quarter. I couldn't really tell what happened. It looked like he banged knees or something of that sort. He says he's fine. He says he plans on playing against the Wizards. They play the Wizards tomorrow, so that's good to know. Crazy January sketch for his Lakers team, where I think they're basically playing every other day. Outside of that stretch where they were attending to the Palisades fire and things of that nature. But Corban, enough yapping for me. Biggest takeaways from this Lakers game.
I think one, the bench or lack thereof is a significant factor for the Lakers. Here, Sean, I don't know if you saw, but Kevin Porter Jr. outscored the Lakers bench by himself 8-4 going into halftime of the game.
Kevin Porter Jr. is so nasty.
Yes. Oh, yes. I like it. Yes. And it was it was just crazy to think about that. The lack of bench production at all throughout the game was pretty bad, but that stat to me was oh wow, that's kind of crazy. The other thing that kind of popped out to me was, and I don't know, I think it's been an issue pretty much all year, I guess. Even you haven't had the best D'Lo year before he was traded to Brooklyn, but playmaking, when you're not getting a good Austin Reeves game, and he's still kind of learning that full-time point guard role, right? But kind of struggled from there. 3 assists to trying to see how many turnovers he had.
5 turnovers.
5. So not a great Austin Reeves floor general game, if you will, right? And LeBron, that all goes on him. That's a lot of responsibility to have on him in terms of, yes, trying to get others involved to get their shots, but also to get his own. For him, put up 45% from the field, had 11 assists. For the team as a total, they had 26. So that's what, just under half of the total of just making it easier for them to get their offense. I think that's what kind of stuck out to me. There were so many lulls throughout the game where, yes, the Los Angeles Clippers defense is legit, right? They're in the top 5.
Second best defense.
right? In a variety of defensive categories, they're top 5 too. And that I mean, they showed why. But like the Lakers did not make it easier for themselves in terms of getting good looks. So much kind of down the stretch felt like it was LeBron, AD, throw up a shot, please, and you kind of see the shooting numbers, for those on the watching the video. But when, Anthony Davis and LeBron aren't having, their usual game, AD in particular, 5-14 from the field, things get nasty real quick,
Yeah. First off, LeBron had that performance when it felt like he couldn't make a freaking layup all night long.
Yeah.
To the point where I think I texted like, dog, LeBron, please just make a layup.
Yeah, you did.
LeBron's
the lift wasn't there.
Right. LeBron's selling parlays everywhere because he can't make layups. I mean, if my parlay was still alive, it would have hit. But anyway, not to go down that rabbit hole. To your point about Austin, specifically as a playmaker, I think JJ's talked about this and talked about Austin's ability to create paint touches, how important it is for them as a team. And absolutely right. Austin Reeves is legitimately really, really good at this point. Like being able to like collapse the defense, get in the paint, and kick out to Max, kick out to Rui Hachimura, 19.7 boards last night, much needed for this Lakers offense that is just looking for anything, not named LeBron James at the moment. Even like a guy like AD's kind of struggled recently. But, and this is something I said after the D'Lo trade, even when Austin was playing really, really well. I'm not saying he's playing bad necessarily. Like tonight was a lackluster playmaking game, but I think you can attribute that to a couple of things. But I said this at the time after the D'Lo trade. I'm like, okay, I'm glad we got Dorian. I think Dorian Finney-Smith is really, really good. And I'm still holding my ground on the fact that despite Rui playing really, really well, for the sake of the team, dude, just freaking start DFS already, please. And it makes more sense to start DFS with Vando's return being imminent, right? Like, it just makes too much sense to me to start DFS, have some semblance of roster balance by starting DFS.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, cool, we got DFS now. But your offense is essentially, if Bron and Austin can't get into the paint and collapse the defense, there is nobody else on this team that's capable of doing that. No. And on a night like this against a top, and also Austin is not like an athletic guard. LeBron James at 40 years old is still like by a mile, a country mile, the most athletic player with the ball in his hands on this team. It's not even close.
No.
Like, no. And I mean, like, I guess that statement was still true when D'Lo was here, but at the very least, D'Lo was another guy that could handle the ball.
Yeah.
Like, your third on-ball player is like Gabe Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be for real.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? So, on a night like tonight, you're playing the second best defense in the league that does a really, really good job of honing in on your weaknesses, obviously. And the Lakers' biggest offensive weakness right now is like facing a team that plays drop coverage. Biggest weakness is really like a self-inflicted like injury because they just don't know how to like scheme up against drop defenses for whatever the hell the reason is. And the Clippers are one of the more drop-heavy teams in the entire league. And it's no surprise that on a night like tonight, you're playing a drop-heavy defense. You don't do well against drop because you just won't play call against it. And it's also a top 5 defense. No surprise that Austin Reeves has a bad game, in air quotes. No surprise that you only score 102 points. No surprise you had 15 turnovers and you shot 50% from the floor. Yeah. But honestly, LeBron James made shots. Max made shots. Like Austin made shots. Yeah. But like, dog, I think them shooting 50% from the field is just not an accurate representation of this game.
Yeah.
It was a lot tougher than I think the shooting splits will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Lakers offense is absolutely a concern right now.
Yeah. It's a big one for me. I mean, we've talked about it before. Even when I brought in the trade deadline video, I said, listen, like defensively, I get it. There's some players you hope the Lakers can kind of acquire. I know Bruce Brown's been in talks. Obviously, they made the swing for DFS, and that makes a lot of sense. So they need to improve on that end. But offensively, it looks bad in general. Like that's the thing. The Clippers defense is in the top 5 for a reason, right? So yes, it's going to look pretty catastrophic in that third quarter, especially. We saw that. Like, it wasn't the Lakers were scoring the ball well when they were able to get into scoring position. But that's when they were able to not, end their possession with a turnover. When they did, the Clippers capitalized on it. Look, Kawhi had his run in that kind of third quarter. Really, it felt like, it was just really kind of easy for them. It was really easy for them going from the end of the second half going in. So, or the end of the first half rather. So, like, I don't know. I think offense stands out as the biggest thing by far. The balance between your starters and your bench. I don't think it's on Coach Redick, who's trying to pull all the right strings, but he doesn't have the weapons needed. You are trying to stagger LeBron and Reeves and make sure you have, Anthony Davis out there. When you have Anthony Davis out there, you also to make sure that you're trying to have one of Reeves or LeBron, because we saw when they didn't have that, you had Max Christie kind of giving the ball to AD to bring the ball up. Like, it's weird, the offensive dynamic of this team. In that it is subpar, but also, like, I don't know. I feel like JJ Redick's trying to kind of push buttons that aren't there to try to make something happen.
So I don't think I've told you this, and I also want to clarify this for people that are viewing and listening and watching this, because I do get this comment a lot. Oh my gosh, Sean isn't paying attention to his co-host, or Sean's looking through his life. I got the same BS comments when I was with Laker Nation. Like, Sean doesn't pay attention to Trevor. I am literally, hold on. I want to know if I can do this and not crap my setup. I am literally looking, not my PS5, not my energy drink. I have a monitor right here. It's a little dusty on the top. I might need to get that fixed. This is bad podcasting.
Hey,
but
it's working.
I am looking at my left to my monitor to make sure, we don't miss anything big on Twitter, and, making sure we have everything is straight. This broad quote, pretty eerie of something I've heard before. I want to make sure that hold on, we do not want to share. Let me check Jovan's Twitter right quick.
Good word now.
No, he didn't pick it up. Hold on. I mean, it's Lakers Daily. So I guess technically it's cool. Why has nobody else picked this quote up? I'm actually getting mad now.
Did it just happen? I don't even know what quote we're referring to yet, so I'm excited. But did he just drop this quote?
It just happened a few minutes. Okay. So the quote is, and I'm just gonna take this with a grain of salt right now, because this is the only platform, and I'm not saying Lakers Daily is known for lying or anything. I'm not accusing him of that. I'm just saying I'm taking this with a grain of salt, because there is literally nobody else that has picked up this quote whatsoever. And that's why my headphones are being weird, because they're halfway coming out. Again, terrible podcasting. The quote is that the Lakers have to play perfect basketball. We don't have a choice as to way our team is constructed. Now, that just sounds weird. I'm taking it with a grain of salt, but you saw the look Corbin gave. If that's a legit quote, Rob, the hell?
Yo, yeah, that's wild.
Alan, hold on. I don't even want to react to that, because hold on. Dan,
you want to make sure it's actually actually the truth, which I get. I mean, here's the thing. We know LeBron is not above speaking critical of his team, and kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty of it when he feels the need to. So it's not like I put it, this will be the most damning indictment of the roster construction to date that LeBron has spoken about
since he's been a Laker, maybe even.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm having recent a recency bias span or whatever, or spasm or whatever right now. But the only other year I can think of would be the year he got hurt, his first year, where maybe he was critical of the roster then. But even then, he was hurt for such a long period of time. I feel like Bron, again, I'm trying to remember back. I feel like Bron was just damn near happy to get back healthy and said, whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe that summer, I guess he pressed him. Now, a legit quote we have from JJ Redick. He did admit that the Lakers don't have a huge margin for error in these games. We have to do it through connectivity, execution. What we do that we're really good. Well, they haven't done that against a good team yet. So, So guys, again, that LeBron quote, I think me and Corbin are going to take it with a grain of salt, but acknowledge if that's legit and we see the video afterwards, then yeah, I think we could both agree that that is the most damning quote from LeBron since he's been a Laker. I think that's fair. All right, so we had a little bit of a technical mix up there, but because of that, we were able to find that this is legit, so we can actually react to it. So hold on, here we go. Shout out to great job, Claire. I'll make sure I share her social media on Twitter or whatever in the description. But here is the video of LeBron basically saying that.
Can you give yourself more margin? Are there things that you can do sometimes to make it easier?
No, just not if our team is instructed.
So again, the actual quote is, "We don't have a choice. That's the way our team is constructed." And there it is right there. So LeBron basically saying, the question I think was, do you guys have that margin of error? LeBron's like, no, it's the way our team is constructed. We do not have a margin of error, essentially. So now that we don't have to take it with a grain of salt, Corbin.
Boom.
And I talked about this a little while ago. I'm like, dog, this team, changes need to be intimate. And as a matter of fact, the name of this, the title of the streamer or whatever, is the Lakers offensive concerns continue. There's no changes imminent. Is LeBron basically saying, dog, we need changes now because it's the way the roster is constructed? What are your thoughts now that we don't have to take this with a grain of salt?
Oh, I'm glad it's out there. The Band-Aid's ripped off. Your best player is kind of saying, hey, this is what it is, right? I think the front office for so long has kind of been able to get away with, hey, let's kind of give it, the 30-game mark, whatever the case may be. Let's wait till this guy's healthy and wait till that guy's healthy. It's Vanderbilt. It's Christian Wood. It's all these guys to see what team it is. Where the answer is kind of looking at you right in the face. Yes, Vanderbilt would be a big help to this team, right? Christian Wood would honestly be a help to this team. Would it drastically change their position? Probably not. They still have issues with center depth. They still have issues, in terms of offensive creation. And so those are things that would still be kind of hanging in the balance. Oh, I guess center depth would sort of be solved with Christian Wood there, but there would still be, of course, that offensive creation standpoint, additional wing help, regardless. And so I think, yeah, he's not wrong. I think it's time for the Lakers to make moves. I think you're starting to see LeBron kind of reach, he hasn't said he's at the end of his patience, but come on, there's kind of a line being kind of put there. And it's obvious to anyone who has eyes that can watch this game, this is how the Lakers have to play. We were talking about Lakers possibly making moves. Even if they make moves at the deadline, which, we're hoping that they do, it's still going to be, hey, they make a certain move and then hopefully LeBron plays better, races level, Anthony Davis does, Austin Reeves does. It's still a lot of ifs, and they play the right, and there's some injury luck. There's a whole lot still going on. But I saw your face, so what's going on?
So the official transcribed question, this is from Dan Winkie. He was the guy that asked the question, which is freaking hilarious because I'm panicking trying to find somebody that had the quote or whatever. Yeah. And I searched his Twitter 17 times during that moment. But Dan Winkie from LA Times, the question, he said, I'm reading the tweet verbatim. I asked LeBron James, this is Dan, I asked LeBron James if there were ways internally for the team to improve the margin of error, a common observation from him when they've struggled these past few years. And then he said, nah, that's how our team is constructed. We don't have room for error or for much error or whatever. So yeah, this is as outright and just out in front that LeBron, I think, has been as a Laker about this, right? That I don't think he's been this direct since the AD stuff. But even then, I would have to go back to 2018 Cavs, which was the last time I would say LeBron's been this direct. Maybe the year after they lost to Phoenix. But even then, it was kind of no, we need some help, Rob. I feel like that was even a little bit more, behind the scenes. And again, maybe I'm suffering from recency bias here in, reacting to this live. But I don't know, Corbin. I really, really do think that this is the most out there, out in the open LeBron has been. And as he should be, he's 40. Guys,
the man is 40.
I want my best friends, we were talking about LeBron and I forget how the conversation came up. But he was like, Bron's top 10 still, right? I was like, I don't know. I don't know if Bron's top 10. I think at the very least he's close, right?
Mhm.
But the mere fact, and by the way, in a 7-game playoff setting, Bron would probably still be in my top 5, right? I mean, top 10 for sure. Top 5 even probably. I have to think about it. I don't know about top 5 actually. I think I would take my top 5 over Bron in a 7-game setting.
There's a
Neither here nor there. Conversation, right? The mere fact that a 40-year-old is still in these conversations is absurd. I think Bron is recognizing it. Bron fully recognizes that. And I think you look at the best teams in a 7-game setting. Like you look at the Thunder, bro, who they were, as an unbiased analyst, my finals pick back in May. Damn near when their season ended, especially when they got Harden. I was like, yeah, they're my finals pick, calling it early. Even though Laker fan to me, obviously, like, I mean, screw the NBA analyst. I want to be happy. I want the Lakers to win a title.
Yeah.
Acknowledging the fact that LeBron is still this good. Like, yes, do something. And I brought up the Thunder because their margin of error is so freaking big. It's insane. All the championship level teams, basically for the past 10 years plus, if not of all time, have this massive margin of error. The 2023 Nuggets, huge margin of error. As long as that game's like within 8 points in the last 5 minutes, they feel like they're going to win. The 2020 Lakers, they had a big margin of error because they could just rely on their defense and keep it close. And you have prime Bron damn near, and you have Anthony Davis in his peak, right? The 2021 Bucks, elite regular season defense, Giannis at the peak of his powers, arguably. And you had like prime Chris Middleton and prime Drew Holiday still. Margin of error is huge. This Lakers team does not have the margin of error that your typical NBA champion will have. And Bron saying that, like, no, I don't know if Bron even knows if this team's good, but at the very least, Bron saying, like, no, we are not a title contender. How many times do you have to say we are not playing at a title contender level yet, and we don't have the margin of error to be a title contender? And like I said, this is the most out in the open I feel Bron's been about this in a while.
No, I think you're right. I mean, you said it. You brought up all these other teams that have a much bigger window where, hey, you could lose a player here or lose a player there and still, have a really good chance of making it all the way, and the Lakers, like you said, they're on the other end of that pendulum, right? Like, God help if LeBron goes down, if AD goes down, if Austin Reeves go down, any combination of those players, like any individual one of them going down would be like a severe blow. Any combination of it, like, good luck. Like, that's kind of where it's the opposite end. That's kind of where you're at. And you're right. LeBron has not been this, I guess, open. I can't think. Like you said, 2018 with the Cavs was one. I think 2019 too, when he was the first year with the Lakers, when they were trying to get a center. And I think he was talking up when they finally had the artist formerly known as Tyson Chandler available. Before they got him from the Suns, I think LeBron had done some lobbying for that. That was kind of public. But even then, that was kind of benign compared to like when he openly campaigned for point guards, back in 2017 and 2018 with the Cavs. So yeah, I definitely think this is clearly the most direct he's been. And come on, good reason. We see it. Like, anyone with his eyes and watching the game is not going, wow, the Lakers are 1 piece away, 2 piece, 3 piece. No, it's a lot of pieces and some hope, and some prayers and some magic and Doctor Strange. And I don't know.
Multiverse of Madness is a good movie.
Oh, you know what? I have some Marvel takes for you, my friend. I think it definitely was slept on. I thought it was gonna be a lot better than it was, but it had some.
I was just gonna say, we'll have some fun on this show. We'll have some fun.
I'm with that. I like it.
It definitely took. Okay, so really, really fast for the podcast listeners or whatever. One of my takes I had at the time, and this was I'll listen to my Multiverse of Madness like hate phase or whatever. But it's also because the movie I compared it to also, I thought at the time, got some insane hate. I said, I was talking to my uncle, who's also a Marvel fan. I was like, I don't even remember the name of the movie. Love and Thunder was a better movie than, no, that's not what I said. Love and Thunder is a more enjoyable movie than Multiverse of Madness.
I could get that.
I reeled it back in. It's a very disappointing movie for sure, Love and Thunder, but it has its qualities, I thought.
It had its moments. It did have its special charm. Like it was in its own way. Like, it's not a
wasted Christian Bale though.
Huh?
Wasted Christian Bale though.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I rewatched
Marvel
it once
and
like a year ago, and I haven't like had a desire to go back to it. I was like, yeah,
No.
this is a one rewatch type of movie. I don't even I'm not gonna come back to it.
There's something to be said real quick about Marvel and their villains and the special, like the great actors they get and how they kind of waste it. Another conversation for another day on another show. But yeah, I agree with you. What a waste.
All right, let's get back on track and with our original plan until the our before this whole LeBron news just rocked the world.
Yeah.
One of the takeaways I think I had, and it kind of sparked a conversation in our text conversation. The Lakers need Jarred Vanderbilt. They need Jarred Vanderbilt, and I've kind of talked about this. And I even put this on a tweet. I think. And this goes back to even what we were just talking about just now. Like it might have been off camera, but this team should be a good offense. They should also be a good defense. Like the fact that they're painfully mediocre at both is absurd. And I put it on Twitter, and I think I said something like, man, I see the vision with this defense. Like the Clippers offense is nothing to write home about. Like I think they're like the 22nd best offense or something in offensive rating. Granted, they spent the majority of the season without Kawhi Leonard, obviously. So it's nothing to write home about. But I'm like, man, I see the vision. Like, and somebody was like, oh man, are you serious? Like, you're trolling or something to the extent of that. I was like, nah, not really. Like Max is taking that step, a clear step, I think. To where not only is he playing super confidently offensively, at least within his role, to where, look, I'm going to make catch and shoot threes. I can kind of attack off of a closeout and make like a secondary play or whatever. But for the most part, it's make catch, shoot threes, and guard at the point of attack. And Gabe is like my secondary point of attack guy. Like he's our point of attack guy off the bench. Then it's Dorian Finney-Smith, who in a perfect scenario, in a realistic scenario, Dorian Finney-Smith is the guy I would say that's your Kawhi guy in a playoff series, or that's your bigger wing type of dude, right? That's Dorian Finney-Smith. Then you have Anthony Davis, drop coverage king, elite rim protector, etc. Braun in a playoff setting should be a good help defender, good enough rebounder still. In a pinch, can guard on the perimeter, right? But I wouldn't like ask LeBron to do that for 40 minutes a night, or you're going to lose in 4 because he's just not going to score for you.
Yeah.
And then Vando comes back, and Vando, the way I've kind of described Vando, because I think sometimes the fan base like misconstrues what Vando's actually good at, in my opinion. The way I've kind of defended Vando, excuse my language for a sec, is he's the wreck shit maker. Like his job is to go wreck shit defensively. Like it's to create havoc in the passing lanes, is to deny your best player, is to make their life hell. While also being a good enough rebounder, a good enough help side rim protector. But he's not the guy, for example, I throw on a Ja. Maybe that's a bad comp. He's not the guy I would throw on Steph, which the reason why you only I want Laker fans to really, really think about this for a second. Why, when you see those Vando highlight reels of like him guarding Steph or whatever, why is it only from game 1? Why is it not from the rest of the series? It's only from game 1. Have you realized that? It's only from game 1. It's because the Warriors, the rest of that series, said we're just going to put Vando and pick and roll the entire series. And it neutralized everything that Vando does well. Because he's not a good screen navigator.
No.
But if you're telling Vando to go guard an ISO or like deny their best player, which he did in that game 1, he's great. Right? So I think this team really, really needs Vando. And as bad as the offense has been, Corbin, I think Vando is a good enough screen setter and a good enough finisher to where I think JJ can actually incorporate him into the offense. What are your thoughts on Vando, and like how important do you think it is Vando potentially returning to the level of play that he was once at for this Lakers team to hit their ceiling?
I think it's really important. I mean, it's funny. We were kind of talking off camera. We're texting actually. And I was saying, listen, Lakers need help with the guys who can guard these bigger wings, this and the other, like it's a glaring weakness. And you're like, yeah, well, I think it'll be solved once Vando gets back. And I was like, yo, he's been out so long, like I've not even registered him anymore in terms of like we have him like as somebody when he is healthy to kind of deploy in those matchups. Like he didn't even factor into me as like, yeah, I guess that does solve a lot of those issues, you know. And you do have a guy in Vando who the defensive versatility, 1 through 4, I think is really there. And you're right, the navigation is not great on screens for sure. He can be taken out of actions for teams that kind of scheme to kind of separate him entirely, right? Even then, I think he's disruptive in passing lanes and things of that matter in terms of his help side defense, that second side rim protection, all of that. So you do have that, you know, still as a factor. Offensively, I think I'm a little less optimistic. I don't know. I think when he is, I mean, he's experimented with a corner 3, and I'm not saying he needs a 3-point shot, but like he experimented with that, like you said, another guy who can finish around the rim. He's not like I don't want to say Andre Roberson. He's not a total net negative offensively. Like he's just not.
Andre Roberson was so bad. Oh my God!
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. He was so bad.
Yes, he was. Like just bad in general. And so like he's not like that. He's just not. Like if he was defense, it's like an A+, you know, I mean, the offense, you're probably giving like a C, maybe a D-, you know what I mean? So like, that's kind of where I look at it with him. But I think just having him, like, that's the thing. Having him makes him so much better on that end, just because you have a guy, now you have 2 guys, DFS and Vando, who are better than average defenders, like actually good defenders that you can then use, you know, now you have less weak spots to attack. Because Anthony Davis in drop, like, come on now. People still try to avoid him in general, right? And LeBron James, when he's engaged, you know, ask D'Lo 2 games ago. I'm just kidding. But, like, you know, when LeBron James engaged, like, he can still get after it. And so then you only have, like, 1 weak link, and that's probably what Austin. So
and Austin,
Max,
not to
Austin competes too.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, Corbin, but, like, if Austin Reeves is your worst defender, that is a hell yes. Yeah. Austin's not. He is. Austin Reeves is the most perfectly fine guard defender in the league. He's perfectly okay. He's not good. Not even gonna like front and pretend Austin Reeves is a good defender. But he's so okay. He's so okay. Sorry to cut you off. Please continue.
No, you're good. Exactly. Like that's a good problem to have. And so I think it also opens up more for Coach Reddick in terms of able to, you know, okay, let's start DFS and Vando in the front court, LeBron, you know, AD. Like, that's not bad. You're still light on that, like, shot creation. But, I mean, you have LeBron on the floor. You have Austin Reeves. That's not bad. And AD, with the gravity that he has around the rim, that's great. So, like, you can figure things out a little bit better. Your bench, hopefully, in theory, is stronger. You know, like, there's different avenues. And this is, of course, not even going into whatever moves are possibly made. So, no, I think he'd be a big addition for the squad. I just want to kind of – I'm looking forward to actually seeing it so we can talk about what he's doing and not, like, what he could do, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing that I get every single time I like post a positive Vando tweet is like people saying, bro, we haven't seen Vando play in a year. And I get that, man. Mm-hmm. And maybe I am putting a lot of stock in Vando returning to what he once was. But again, because if he does, even 85% of what he once was. Okay, Vando at his peak, let's call it the 2023 playoffs, right? It's an A- defender. Has some flaws, but what he's really, really good at, he's damn good at.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a B+ defender. That's still such a value for this team. And I don't think the ball denial stuff would leave. I think maybe the perimeter isolation stuff could leave. Like maybe he lost a step, but he's what, 26? How old is Vando?
Yeah, I think he's young.
He's 25. He'll turn 26 when the playoffs start, damn near. He turns 26 April 3rd.
That's wild.
So I get it. There is some natural like pause with Vando stuff. But Vando comes back at 90% of what he was as a player. Still a huge plus for this Lakers team. And kind of takes away one of the things that I think the Lakers still need, which is another defensive wing. And that's a great segue into the conversation about the trade market right now for the Lakers. Your 3 guys you identify with Nikola Vucevic, Cam Johnson, and Lonzo Ball. Vucevic just shot 40 the other night, which is insane. Now, they did lose to, like, Portland tonight, I think. So I guess the tank is back on in Chicago. So this is our first time really having a trade discussion with this Lakers team. So I'm curious what your thoughts are. I'm in a dilemma with the trade front with the Lakers. I think they make a move, especially after like Bron he's one of the smartest freaking human beings that have ever like played basketball. Mm-hmm. The trade deadline is like 16 days away. LeBron is very aware of that.
Yeah.
He is very aware of that.
Laser focus.
Laser focus. You have not played a game with Jarred Vanderbilt yet. I've kind of been in the mindset of I don't really think they trade Rui. One, because I'm kind of believing what they've told us about how they feel about Rui, which is, oh my God, we love Rui. He's this, he's that.
That was a good impersonation there. I like that.
They've told us they love Rui. Rui was one of the like 4 guys they've said that they view as like a long-term member of this team. Like it was this summer, it was Austin, Max, Rui, and like Dalton or whatever. It's like the non-AD guys long-term, like who they view as like core pieces of this team. He was one of those 4 guys. So I've kind of been in the mindset of I don't think they trade Rui unless it's for an all-star plus level player. Which is unfortunate, not even because it's a F Rui agenda, is because if you want to make a deal for, I mean, basically anybody, you're gonna need Rui's contract. So that kind of gets tough. And then it also comes to the conversation of, do they trade both of the first? I'm also of the mindset that they don't trade the first, specifically for a guy like Cam Johnson, who I'm a big fan of. You talked about Cam Johnson in your trade targets video. Again, go check that out right up there or whatever. The Lakers could trade it for Cam Johnson. The Nets 1-2 first. That's kind of what I heard. And I don't think they're going to spin the block back to go get Cam Johnson unless the price drops, right?
Yeah.
So where are you at on the trade front for this Lakers team? Do you think that let's play in that scenario for a sec? The Lakers aren't willing to trade both first. They aren't really willing to trade Rui unless they absolutely have to. I mean, what do the Lakers do on the trade front?
That's the challenge, right? Like, because they don't have a lot of assets to kind of go to the table with anyway, right? I mean, D'Lo's already gone, right? They're not like that contract's gone. That was kind of your bigger one to use in these trades. So now it's some combination of, Gabe Vincent, Vando, and Rui. I get the Lakers, at least quote unquote hesitation with moving Rui, but if you're going to aggregate contracts with which to make a trade, like you're, I don't know, Dalton Knecht's not going anywhere. Max Christie not going anywhere. I mean, at least not that. I don't imagine that, right? You don't have a lot of other guys on your team aren't making enough money to go into trades. Dalton Knecht's not going anywhere. So like those are kind of your guys. I mean, Christian Wood you could throw in there. So what? That's Christian Wood. Jackson Hayes, I guess. Still not kind of need some bigs, but like he's a guy you throw in there. Again, you have to convince a team that that's who they want, by the way.
Yeah.
Then Rui, if you're, whatever you say about him, he's in there. Gabe Vincent, who's had, I don't know, a good month in his Lakers tenure, he's in there. And then am I missing something? Oh yeah, Vando. But like you kind of need Vando. You're hoping he's healthy. If are you punting on Vando without him playing a game? Okay, that's also, if you're doing that, like you have to convince the team, by the way, he hasn't played all year. Or last year, but like if you get him, he's a game breaker. Okay, why aren't you using him? Like it's a lot of different questions with each player, right? And then by the way, 2 first-round picks that like we only want to use for a difference maker. And by the way, there aren't a whole lot of difference makers out there that you can get without trading 2 of the 5 players I just mentioned. So it's tricky. I don't know. I wish I could guess. In my mind, it was some combination of Rui and Gabe, because Rui he's kind of the eye in the beholder type guy, right? Like you could have teams that could go, you know what? All right, 27, good mid-range shooter, capable defensively, can have big offensive nights, can kind of slot in, as a 4, not really great as a 3. Like you can have teams kind of talk themselves into Rui, right? And then Gabe Vincent, you could kind of throw in as like the price of doing business to get Rui. Because like right now, no one's taking Gabe. Is like, oh yeah, we want that guy. Like, let's go.
Hell yeah,
exactly.
Pumping their chest about that one. We're pumped,
right? Exactly. Like, no one's in the front office high five. We just got Gabe Vincent, baby. Like that's not happening. But if you combine those two, and then you maybe throw in, then maybe you kind of scale yourself up.
Right.
If
that's about $28 million worth of salary too, I believe. Maybe 29. Maybe.
Yeah. So see, off that gets you closer in these conversations for a guy who might be up some help. And even then, you still need to go to your bench and be like, okay, we need to play you some more minutes. Maybe that sort of thing. But at least it scales you better to getting a difference maker on the team. Without trading Rui, I listen. I don't know. Without trading Rui, I mean, you're most certainly now probably losing both of your picks. I just don't know if that's in a 3-team trade or with the way that the apron rules are now, how likely that is. Like, it just gets so much more complicated. But I just don't think anyone's going to say straight up, okay, yeah, we want Gabe Vincent and Vando, or Gabe Vincent, Jackson Hayes, and Christian Wood. Like, I don't see a team going, yeah, we'll take your Lakers poo-poo platter, when they won't even take some of the Lakers' really good offers from what we've heard over the last couple of years.
So I think what I'm realizing here, I think the Lakers are just running into like a philosophical problem on the trade front. Because again, I'm of the mindset that they don't trade Rui, which is a whole problem in and of itself for the reasons that we've and you just detailed. Like, they need a salary. Rui's like a $17.5 million salary.
Yeah, one of those higher mid-tier.
Yeah, so if you want all these guys that Laker fans are throwing out there, Lonzo's making 21. Cam Johnson's making, off the top of my head, like 19, I think. Cam Johnson has a good contract. Big Booch is making like 20, I think.
Yeah.
So to get there, you're likely to make everybody's lives easier. You're likely going to need Rui, right? But there's going to be the conversation to say, well, Sean, Corbin, they have Vando, who's at 11, and they have 10.5, I think, for this year, and you have Gabe at 11. But to the point you just made, nobody in the league is going, hey, hell yeah, hey, we just got Gabe Vincent, high five, guys. Nobody's doing that. And then Gabe has no value. He has no value in the league right now. And then Vando, not only to your point of, hey, we have to convince you that not only has he not played in the year, and he's a game wrecker, so hey, maybe he's healthy. But then the argument's gonna just turn into, okay, like, if he's healthy, just use him then. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Not only is it that, he has 3 more years left on his contract after this season, and one of them is a player option. So if I'm another team, injury concerns, questionable fit offensively, and he has 3 more years left. I'm cool. I'm cool if I'm another team. So, like, how much value does Vando have on the trade market? So you're only 2. I mean, and then Max, you're not trading Max. I don't even know if they can trade Max legally this season. I think they have to wait till the summer. And then Dalton doesn't make enough Dalton would be more of a trade value thing. It wouldn't be a contract thing.
Yeah.
So your 2 biggest salaries, not named Rui Hachimura, have no value essentially to the rest of the league at this current moment on January 20th. I want to say July so freaking badly. Who knows why? That's the biggest problem. So as confident as I am that they love Rui and they don't really want to trade Rui, et cetera, you are running into a problem, because for this team to get better, you have to trade Rui, because he's the only dude. As much as Laker fans criticize Rui, and I am one of the first people to do it,
I've done it as well.
His salary is needed in any deal. And not only his salary, his semblance of value around the league is needed in any deal that you make. And it's tough, because then you get to the conversation that you talked about, like, all right, let's trade Gabe, or let's package Gabe and Rui to get something. Let's say they come back with like a wing and a big. Okay, maybe we got better as a team. Who's Austin Reeves' backup?
You traded Gabe, so yeah.
Are we playing Bronny? Like
Max Christie? I'd have Max Christie at the point before I have Bronny. Like,
that's so nasty.
So it's nasty the way I don't like it. Yeah, shivers already.
So that's what I'm saying, man. Like, they have to get really creative at this deadline, I think. And I might even go this far as saying I don't know if the trade the Lakers make is something that we're going to expect. I don't think it's going to be a Cam Johnson. I'm almost at the point where I'm willing to write off a Cam Johnson trade, unless like the Lakers wake up on February 6th and say, all right, we'll trade both for our first for Cam Johnson, which I actually understand why they didn't do that. I think they don't have enough That is a move for a team like the Thunder, if that makes sense. We're like, all right, we have 2 first-round picks to give. That is we're not stressing about that. The Lakers very much need to be stressing about what they do with those 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to write off a Cam Johnson trade. From everything we've heard, we can write off a Walker Kessler trade. I would also write up a Colin Sexton trade from some of the things I've heard. So I think it's going to come down. I think it's going to come down to the Lakers getting creative, Corban, and it being something that we didn't really anticipate. And I'll say one more thing. I think the Nick Richards trade is kind of hurt the Lakers.
Yeah.
Because a quality backup big went for 3 second-round picks. The Lakers do not have 3 second-round picks. They have 2 firsts that they can trade, plus pick swaps, and then they have 2 second-round picks they can trade. And both those second-round picks are for this season. It's going to be interesting how the Lakers navigate this upcoming trade deadline because LeBron sees it. He's like, look, we do not have a large margin of error. We are a title team. We need to do something. It's our roster construction. We just said this is the most out in the open. LeBron's been about this in a while.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Rob Pelinka to get creative at the deadline.
Yeah. I mean, if 2 trade deadlines ago, we saw that he was able to do that. Or was it 3 where he got,
2.
D'Angelo Russell, Jarred Vanderbilt, and Malik Beasley,
Yep.
right? Like that came out of nowhere. We were just like, okay, is Russ being traded and hopefully that's done,
it's aware. Right. It didn't matter. Just get him away.
Exactly. Yep. And somehow he was able to. Now, mind you, my faith in Pelinka is not very high in general, but like that did not only like kind of win me over for that moment, but it also inspired hope that he could possibly do it again. Because it wasn't a perfect fit, but it was basically kind of did exactly what I'm outlining for the Lakers to do again this year, which is grab the pieces that can allow LeBron and AD to kind of scale up their game with the supporting cast around them that can hold, and it did that year up to the Western Conference Finals. So, like that is the hope, right? It's a little trickier now, I think, in terms of the assets the Lakers have or don't have, and the fact that LeBron is older and AD, like I think he would start off super strong, but it's been different this last couple of weeks. So like I think it's tricky. I don't know, but I definitely think that that's kind of what Pelinka has to do. It's not the most inspiring of lines here, but yeah, he needs to find a way to make this work out because it's just not there right now.
All right. Last segment on today's show. I opened up the mailbag on Twitter and going to answer some of you guys' questions here. So we're going to start off, my guy, Kenneth Williams at KW213. Can the Lakers get Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, and Deron Sharp for their 2 first-round picks? My answer would be no. I think Brooklyn hangs up the phone and is very upset with you. Corby, you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's 2 first-rounders just for Cam. Like that's word on the street. I imagine it'd be an additional draft compensation for Cam Thomas. No, that would be a magical trade to kind of solve all the Lakers issues at one time in this, but there's no way that Brooklyn goes, oh yeah, like we're on for that. I think it need to be, they don't have the assets available to make the trade that Brooklyn would request for those guys. Official
NBA curse or at Laker Viking ask, who is your ideal Laker trade target? Corbin, if you had to only pick one, who would be your ideal Laker trade target?
I mean, we talk about Cam Johnson so much, and he wouldn't be a panacea, but I kind of talk myself in Alonzo Ball.
Okay.
As a guy who I think, he brings additional size to the backcourt. Defensively, he helps the entire unit, especially if you have him and Vando comes back healthy. Like, in mind you, he's not going to Chicago. Let's say he's not going to Chicago in any deal to get Lonzo, but like when healthy, you get a guy who's, decent shooter from 3, good playmaker. We've already seen the chemistry he's had with LeBron. Being able to slot into the backcourt with Austin Reeves. He could take the tougher defensive assignment for Reeves. Like, I think they have some good balance there. It allows Reeves to be a second side initiator instead of having the full burden of the offense. He can guard 1 through 3. Yeah, he has been on like a minutes kind of minutes restriction or minutes kind of cap because of injury. And yes, the guy hasn't played in 2 full years before now. But if he is indeed back, and this is him trying to kind of get back into a regular rhythm, well, the Lakers need his skill set, and he provides just that from a defensive standpoint with that spot of shooting and that offensive scalability from a playmaking perspective.
I'm going to go with Walker Kessler, a guy that I don't even think they can get, but I kind of see the vision with the 2 big stuff that they've been doing recently. But imagine it being, replace Jackson Hayes' lack of discipline defensively and replace that with really freaking good defensive big in Walker Kessler, really good rebounder, really good anchor. Pair him with Anthony Davis while also being a really, really good screen setter, really good offensive rebounder, good play finisher. For me, it'll be Walker Kessler. I don't think they get Walker Kessler. I definitely think your route of getting Lonzo is a lot more likely. But Walker Kessler is even a guy I would like heavily consider tossing Bo first at. I would really, really consider it at the very least.
I like it.
This is not a question, but it is kind of funny and definitely a Laker inside joke. Comment here says, are you going to enjoy the press conference where Rob says that trades are too difficult after not doing anything else leading up to the deadline?
Yo, I will rip what little hair I have on my head like out when I hear him try to break down like what we already have known all year about how difficult it is, and nobody wants to make a trade with the Lakers and all these other things.
The new tax apron stuff, the CBA. Oh, it's just
as if we haven't known about this for 2 years. Exactly.
It's too much. Shut up, Rob.
I would lose my mind. I'd lose my mind. Or, we decided to not make a move. We're going to stay pat. We just want to see what this team looks like with the healthy Christian Wood and Jarred Vanderbilt.
It reminds me of how the meme was in Vogel's last year. So we got to wait till Trevor Ariza gets back.
Oh, my God. Yes. I remember, listen, we were drinking that Kool-Aid. I was all up on that. 37-year-old Trevor Ariza. When he gets back, oh, it's about to be a whole different ball game.
It's over. It's over when Ariza gets back.
And it was
so bad. Right.
Yeah.
I remember doing a film breakdown for Laker Nation, like his first game back. And actually, I think it was pretty, if my memory serves me correctly, he was pretty all right in that first game back. He was just ass the rest of the year.
The 3-point shot left him. The legs are gone. Yes.
The legs are gone. Can't guard a fly.
No.
Jason C. Johnson on Twitter asked, why are they so sorry? Oh, my God. I see teams like Cleveland, Houston, OKC, and Boston are good. Okay, yes, they are very good. I remember when the story was you could get dudes from the YMCA and add LeBron and you'd win 55 to 60 you'd win 55 to 60 games. What has changed? Well, Jason, there's this thing called, life and father time. So when LeBron could do that, he was like 24. Think like 2009 Cleveland Cavaliers.
PS3 was big back then.
Yeah, PS3 was big. Obama was in his first year of his first run as president.
High School Musical was still in vogue.
High School Musical, yeah, 2009. Brett Favre was still a quarterback before he started. Yeah. Before he turned into a piece of shit.
The Dark Knight Rises just come out in 2008, like the year before.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Best comic book movie ever, in my opinion. 2009. Avatar, first Avatar, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Or maybe the year before. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so when that was a thing, LeBron, all those things were going on. He's 40 now, and you just have like the Lakers are not nearly as well constructed as those other four teams are. I think that's basically what it is.
Yeah. Time marches on.
Yeah, although I would say that the Lakers' second best player is easily the second best player, if not the best player on all those other teams. So, like, whether you think LeBron's the best player or AD, regardless, the other player would easily be, at worst, the second best player on those other four teams. Mm-hmm. So, it's a roster construction thing. KB24 or at Scissor24 ask, why does a team with such little margin for error play like a team with such high margin for error? This team plays extremely casual / low IQ / no urgency / no motor. Would a team with little margin for error be more locked in and control what they could? It's a good point. Corban, what are your thoughts?
That's a really good point. I think this team, the turnovers, some of it's, whether it's lax decision-making or inexperience, you have like the perfect juxtaposition of like young guys like Max Christie and even to a lesser extent, Austin Reeves kind of having to play more, forced into different roles, more on the ball, more decision making than maybe they've been used to in years past. LeBron, I think it's had some troubling passes over this past year of like, what are you doing, man? Like for LeBron, but like there's been some miscommunications. There's been, like you said, I'd say some lackadaisical activity, but most of it on the offensive end, I think, is just guys being pressed in the roles they're not used to. LeBron definitely regressing from a timing perspective, maybe in terms of his passing. And then defensively, they're just not a super great team. But I think the biggest thing that it comes across that way is the fight. Like they're not, they get hit. We talked about this before. But like Lakers, when they get hit in the mouth, are kind of like, okay, I give, like, I'm over. They yelled uncle, and it's like, wait, what? Like, that's just kind of how they are. So it kind of looks like you're right. There's no effort. There's no fight. No, the fight isn't there. So I think it's a mix of not being a good defensive team, being overextended on the offensive end, and then when they're down by a lot, they kind of just roll over and say, okay, you got us. Yeah. So I think it's that perfect marriage of
Yeah. Like I said, they should be a competent offense. They, in theory, could be a pretty competent defense. They're just painfully mediocre at both, which even like lowers their margin even more. And you get in those situations where it's like, oh, we're losing by 20. That's how you get that Heat game, not the most recent one, the one before that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dog. By the way, the Heat always are like a terrible match for us. I feel
that's true. The Heat.
Sammy says, Let's Go Sammy 1. This is an interesting question. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Can Austin Reeves be a championship starting point guard? And before you answer, my thoughts are I don't know. And the reason why I say I don't know yet is because I've never had a good grasp on Austin as a player in terms of what he projects to be. Because if you ask me right now, is Austin at his peak? I still say no, but I don't know what that peak is. The best answer I got for you is Austin is the guy that never makes the All-Star game, but plays at an All-Star caliber level. Like the best comparison I love to make is like CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum in his prime never made an All-Star game, but I think very clearly you're like, yeah, he is at an All-Star caliber. He's an All-Star caliber guy, right? So that's why I have a hard time answering this question because like I just don't know yet because I struggle like projecting Austin long term. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
No, it's funny you said that. I was literally gonna say his peak is like the Michael Jordan of CJ McCollum's. Like, like just this ultimate role player that like you can kind of trick yourself. Like he plays at a high level enough that you're like, wow, like he could be like a star, a pseudo star, that sort of guy, but needs to be around like better talent, right? And I think some of it, like his lack of athleticism does hurt. I think he's still learning and refining his playmaking process. He does make good reads, but it's something he's still developing, right? His outside shooting has gotten more consistent, but can still stand to be a little more consistent in that area. There's a few things that kind of keep him kind of locked in that like good but not great role. But I think CJ McCollum is a perfect like allegory. I'm trying to think of other good players who like they're solid, but they didn't make the All-Star team like a lot, but they were like really, really like good players. Joe Johnson been too good and not that kind of guy. But like
never made an All-Star game?
Did he? I feel like Joe Johnson it was in the East in like the mid 2010s. I feel like he did.
Oh, okay, yeah, 7-time All-Star. I was about to say like, wait.
Okay, I'm about to say I'm like, but again, he's one of those guys like he made the All-Star game and we watched them and we're not drawing like memories of him there. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I think he's one of those guys. So to answer your question, I guess I can't take I don't know because Sean got it. I'm going to lean toward no, but I'm going to say he can be a key component of that team. Maybe like a Manu Ginobili bench role.
Yeah,
I don't know because like if he's your starting shooting guard, can you make it?
Right. So then it gets weird.
Exactly. So I'm just gonna say he could be a key component. But I'm gonna say no with the starting point guard. No, I don't think so.
Do you think that the bigger lineup, be like 2 bigs or 3 swings, will work for the Lakers? Yeah, because I think it just leans into your defense, honestly, and it allows you to be more versatile because you have like backup rim protection. And I mean, we've seen time and time again this season for the Lakers. Like whenever you suck AD out of the paint, it's wraps for their it's over with. So yeah, I think so. I think those lineups have had some success for good reason. Let's see. We'll do like 3 more. My guy Tony Vega at Bald Mojito said, "You mentioned help beater. Have we applied those during the season? No. That's kind of the problem with the offense right now. It's kind of the problem.
Yep, you nailed it.
This difference between like Darvin and JJ, I think Darvin's playbook legit was great. And at times, Darvin, it was just a matter of actually calling the plays in said playbook. I think the material in Darvin's playbook last season was actually really, really good. JJ's playbook this year, which is actually Greg St. Jean's, and I guess last year would have been Chris Jen. Chris Jen was the offensive coordinator last season. Greg St. Jean, who's on the staff, is the offensive coordinator this year. Greg / JJ's playbook, I think in terms of quality of stuff in there, isn't on the level of last year's. And then in terms of actually calling stuff from said playbook, is also worse than last year. So you've taken big steps backwards in both of like the two most important like offensive coaching, aspects. And that's why we're seeing a regression, I think, right now. Out the way, Trey, why do they concede switches so easily? At this point, it's just a fake screen and slip actions because we switch every time. Again, yeah, I don't know why they are so hell-bent on switching everything.
It's the playbook for whatever.
Yeah. And the last one, I get this question a lot. I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Mm-hmm.
F415 WLR, is it rebuild time?
Listen, Sean. I want you to answer this for my sake, just because I haven't heard you answer this one in a minute. I know you probably have, but I just haven't heard it. I have been talking, at least privately, like saying yes. Like I know it's something that's going to be hard to, for ownership to say. I know a team with LeBron and AD, like it's hard to kind of concede that, but I mean, look right now, we're talking about guys. We're openly conceding the fact that there's not a trade probably out there available the Lakers can make to vault them into championship contention, right? Like we're openly kind of conceding that fact, right? We're hoping that, again, there's a rabbit pulled out the hat that brings in some players that can allow AD and LeBron to just go crazy and no injury, mishaps and playoff luck. Like there's a lot of qualifiers we're looking for here for the Lakers to have a fighting chance. Like in my mind, yes, LeBron's 40, AD's gonna be 32. Like this team is gone. They for whatever reason they've maxed it out. And you can look back and say, hey, we wasted a whole year, with Russell Westbrook, a year and a half, right? You look back on that and kind of kick that as a missed opportunity. You go back to 2021 where they, decided to change up the formula that kind of won them the title, going more offensive minded and then kind of not committing to that in terms of, adding Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell and Andre Drummond and Marc Gasol, like all that craziness that happened that year. You can go back and look at everything that was done up to this point. But bottom line, I don't think like anything going forward is going to help this team get there. I just don't see that. So in my mind, yeah, they said that JJ Redick was hired to kind of help this season, but also to continue with whatever program they're trying to develop. Like, let's get on that. Like, you have the picks. Like, let LeBron and AD know, hey, this is where we are, and it's not great, and we're sorry. We kind of fumbled the bat with y'all, but let's try to get y'all somewhere where y'all can continue to contend. And it's not going to be great. I don't know if I even trust this front office with the rebuild that would need to be had, and that's probably the biggest issue. But do I think there needs to be one? I mean, yeah, unless we want to keep kind of kicking the rocks on this.
So that point in a movie, like a PG-13 movie to be specific, where like you're allowed to like you have usage of certain words. Like for example, Guardians 3. Was that the first movie that they like dropped an F? That was the first movie, right? So Chris Pratt
Marvel, right? Yeah.
Chris Pratt F-bomb like an hour and 30 in. We're an hour and 3 minutes in here. I won't drop an F-bomb. But my answer to the question is hell no. Hell no. It's simply because I'm actually so glad you said yes. Because now like it's we're not talking to a wall. I'm glad we disagree on this because it's a few different reasons why I think it's hell no. One is what you touched on in the end. I have no faith in this front office. I have faith in the scouting department, but in terms of like executive, like above the scouting department, above like Jesse and Joey and those guys, like Rob Pelinka, I have no trust whatsoever in Rob Pelinka to be able to manage a rebuild. That's first and foremost, because even if we're talking about all the stuff that they have done to win a title back in 2020 and to build a roster and to get 2 stars, LeBron and Anthony Davis, those are not attributed to Rob Pelinka whatsoever. Rob pulled the deal, yes, but Rich Paul gave him that deal on a silver effing platter, and Magic Johnson went to LeBron's house to get that deal done after midnight. That has nothing to do with Rob Pelinka. Nothing, right? So that's number one. Number two, how do you sell that? How do you sell that to your fan base? How do you sell that to LeBron? And also, how are you able to take the bullet and be the team that goes, we trade LeBron? That carries some weight, in my opinion. You're gonna go and be the team that said, we traded Bron. We were so incompetent. We were so bad at our jobs that we said, F it. We're going to trade Bron. And I get it. There is some self-awareness to that. There is some like accountability. You know what? We effed up. But that's the biggest historically. That's the biggest F up of all time, going to say, we traded Bron. We were so incompetent. We traded the only player in NBA history, even at age effing 40, that can go and say, you put a competent team around me, we are a damn title contender. So that's the biggest fumble. The biggest fumble. That Rob Pelinka's name will be etched in history for all the wrong reasons. He's the guy that fumbled LeBron and Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis specifically in his primes. But LeBron's on a 20-year prime. So yeah, LeBron in his prime too. So how do you sell that to them? How do you sell that to the fan base? And then, okay, like, yeah, JJ, and I did say, I'm over here sweating now. I do agree. I even said this. I feel way better about JJ in a rebuilding situation. Yeah, that's why I actually really, really want him to take like the Charlotte job, for example. Mm-hmm. I would have been stoked for JJ and probably feel a little bit better about JJ's outlook. But for all the other reasons, I'm like, and yeah, I get it. And there, we have kind of come to the conclusion that unless things really start to change, there isn't a trade out there, one singular trade out there, maybe even two. Who knows? There's not a singular trade out there that makes you an instant title contender. No, there isn't. But go back to 2023. So two deadlines ago. I don't think anybody would say that trade made them a title contender at the time. What happened was they got those players in. They just went on a run, played really, really well, got to the playoffs. You gave those two dudes a chance, and you got those favorable matchups in air quotes. And you got to Denver, and I will stand on this. A better coach can potentially win than that series. So it's just a poorly coached series. Jokic was the best player on the planet. Don't get me wrong. Poorly coached series. Closest sweep in NBA history. And Denver fans are going to be,
I live out here. Trust me, I know.
Closest sweep in NBA history. Like, that series is not 4-0. That series, even last year, the Lakers should have been up. It should have been 3-2. Should have been 3-2 going back to Denver or going back to LA for game 6. They should have won game 2, should have won game 5. And then they won game 4. Okay, cool. So we'll give Denver game 1 and game 3. But that should have been 3-2 going back to Denver. I mean, going back to LA to seal it. Right?
Yeah.
And last point I'm going to make, so I'm not yapping. One of my biggest criticism of the Golden State Warriors is not going for it and not giving stuff a chance in his final years of being like borderline top 10. I would be a hypocrite if I did not criticize the Lakers for that same thing.
Yeah, I feel that.
So that's why my answer is hell no. I'm not even like fully disagreeing with you. I think like eventually is that going to be the path forward? Yeah. But simply for the reasons that I say, like, man, you cannot make that big of an F up. Because like you trying to be self-aware and take accountability is just going to make you look like a complete dumbass, in my opinion. And channel my guy, the higher ups, don't get mad. I apologize, but we're an hour in.
Yeah, no, I get you. I again, let me give one more counterpoint because I feel like my argument to that, and I'm with you. I want them to contend. Like, I want to see LeBron in his final years, in a legitimate situation where
how much money you're gonna make for LeBron's farewell tour too. I just thought about that. You're like also costing yourself the possibility to make a shit ton of money. Because LeBron's getting a farewell tour. I will be stunned if LeBron James, as media driven as that dude is, does not announce a farewell tour and say, look, this is my last year in the league. There's no way Bron retires like at a press conference and says, all right, I'm done, y'all. There's no way.
No. But no, and that's true. I guess I just don't want to see him retire on a team going 32-49. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And
that's fair.
Yeah, like that's kind of where my issue is. It's like I agree with you. Like, all those reasons you said are justified. I just feel like my counterpoint is that Rob Pelinka is already doing everything we already said we like don't want to see. Like, okay, fine, he keeps LeBron on the team and just continues to go nowhere while we look at how crazy it is that we had LeBron from age he's played 7 years of the Lakers now.
He's been a Laker more than he's been a Heat, and he's also about to be a Laker more than he's been a Cav in his first stint. Cavs cumulatively or whatever outweighs the Lakers. But like first stint, Bron, he's officially, I think, been a Laker the same amount of time as first stint Cavs, Bron.
Which is wild. And this is the back nine of his career. Like, Rob Pelinka has already misunderstood the mission. Like, mission so not accomplished. Like we've had LeBron from 33 going on 34 to age 40.
Mm-hmm. One
championship. You have more times you miss the playoffs than championships. I don't know. I feel like that's where I look at it. Like, you've already squandered a great, like, I get you, and you're right, for obvious reasons they're not going to do, and I agree with you. Like, I'm glad, like, I'm not glad, let me not say that, I just see why they won't. Like, the reasons you gave make total sense, but to me it's like it's already a lost cause because you're trying to somehow convince a fan base that isn't stupid that we are trying to contend, also trying to convince one of the most competitive people, one of the best competitive players in the history of the game, and LeBron James. We're trying to make the moves. Like it's like the Emperor's new clothes, all over. Like, oh yeah, we're doing all the right things, and we're going, but you're not.
Yeah,
like you're really not. And then we want to 30 game markers to see where we are when there's the exact same team that they were last year. You know what I mean? And then now we might make a small move. What exactly is a small move? Like, it's just another year of that next year. That's what I see.
So that's the stuff that like irritates the fan because it's just insulting.
Yes.
Because to your point, the Laker fans get a lot of crap. Mm-hmm. And some of it is deserved. Deserved.
Yeah.
But in terms of like knowing basketball, Lakers fan base is one of the smartest fan bases like out of the NBA circle or whatever. Lakers fan base knows their stuff, right? And they know when they're being just like point blank lied to. And to your point, like the bro, oh yeah, we're just gonna wait 30 games. Mother Emperor, this is the same team.
Thank you. We know. We watch.
Don't Knecht was your big playing Max Christie was your off-season addition. There's no need to evaluate this team 30 games in.
No. Like, trust and believe, we were aware there's nothing different on this squad. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's stuff like that. So I'm like, do I really want to repeat this with LeBron going 41 when the wheels finally do fall off, right? We've seen more regression this year than I think we've seen over the last two from LeBron, right? Like, just in general. And he's still great. But I'm just saying, like, as we see LeBron inevitably, like, really start to decline, and AD, who I don't think is going to have quite the run LeBron had in terms of longevity, that's not going to happen.
I don't think AD is going to like age gracefully. I think there's going to be I do not wish this, but more specifically offensively, I think AD is always going to be a really, really good defensive player, like damn near KG-esque, like defensively, where like KG, there's the memes about Brooklyn and stuff like that. KG got to Brooklyn, they were still a really, really good defense because he was back there.
His offense disappeared, but defensively he was still productive.
Right, and that's kind of how I view AD. Where like it's just going to be a year where his offense falls off the damn mountain. But defensively, it's going to be good. It's just like his offense fall off Mount Everest. I want to ask you this. This is another philosophical problem I run into, like the whole like let's rebuild thing. What do you give for Bron? And hold on, wait. There isn't an answer to that question because whatever you say is going to be underpaid because it's LeBron James.
I was going to say, I don't even know what that would look like. So you're right. Exactly. There's no, yeah, you're right.
It could be for 3 first-round picks. And even then you might say, okay, cool. But it's still going to feel like an underpay because it's LeBron. There isn't going to be, and also I don't even know if there's a team that will trade for LeBron for 3 first-round picks because he's 40. So you just run into that back and forth. This is a really, really good discussion, though. My answer, and maybe my answer is more like they won't, not they shouldn't, or whatever. So this was quite. I think I laid out the reasons why they shouldn't. I think you laid out the reasons, or no, I laid out the reasons why they won't. I think you did a great job laying out what the points of why they should, not that they will, but why they should. Yeah. So they really good conversation. We're an hour and 14 minutes in. So I appreciate everybody that's still sticking in with us. Corban, my man, this is a fun episode 1. Appreciate you officially joining the channel. Anything else for you want to say before I get out of here? And make sure to plug your Twitter and stuff as well. All your great stuff.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. No, I think it's a lot of fun. Happy to be doing this and plenty more to go, of course. Follow me on social media at Corban NBA, CORBAN NBA. Got my podcast, Indie Basketball. Me and Conrad talk ball all the time and just have a lot of fun doing it. And yeah, hopefully see me here more. That's really about it, y'all.
Absolutely. Make sure you go follow Corban on Twitter. There's a lot of great stuff. Yeah, this was fun. Got a lot of great conversations in the future as well. And we'll catch you guys next time. Stay safe. As always, go Lake Show. Catch you guys the next one. Peace out.